You know Dwight Manfredi?
You know I do.
He has no loyalty. I want him gone.
Episode 8 left Dwight Manfredi on uncertain ground. He rebuilt pieces of himself in Tulsa, but the old world still sits on his shoulders. The rumor that Episode 9 has been leaked and that its title is covered in rock adds a new layer. A leak changes the story. It pulls back curtains that were meant to stay closed and forces characters to move not only against enemies, but against expectation. When scripts leak, the narrative stops being only a writer's plan. It becomes a weapon in someone else's hand. If Episode 9 truly lands under that title, it suggests more than a plot beat. It suggests pressure. It suggests being buried under the weight of decisions. Sheridan's best episodes are quiet reckonings. They let consequences unfurl through small details. A leaked episode turns those details into evidence. It gives us room to theorize, and theorizing is what this episode invites. Who leaked what and why? What does the leak reveal about Dwight? About Kane? About the crew? And who benefits when the story is told before the characters know it?
This is a staring contest?
You got a last name or shoot you?
What's that mean?
Why the leak matters? Leaks are not neutral. They do not simply reveal, they shape. If someone allowed Episode 9 to surface early, it was not by accident. The act of leaking suggests motive. Maybe it is someone inside Dwight's circle who wants the stopgap of his control exposed. Maybe it is an outsider who intends to unsettle him. Leaks have ripple effects. They change how characters behave because they change what characters believe their enemies already know. In practical terms, Episode 9 being leaked means details travel faster than people. Conversations that were private become public thought experiments. A scene meant to surprise an audience becomes a tool other characters can imagine. Sheridan's work is full of those imagined conversations. The leak turns them outward. It forces us to ask who stands to gain if the rest of Tulsa hears what Dwight kept in the dark.
Okay, let's say everything is yours, okay? We're talking about expanding Nebraska, Iowa, Arkansas.
The title, interpreted covered in rock. The phrase covered in rock evokes weight, burial, and concealment. Rock is both protection and prison. A crown can be carved of rock just as a tomb can be. For Dwight, the rock could be his New York reputation, the ledger of old debts, or the concrete rituals he used to hold himself upright. If someone whispers the contents of Episode 9 early, the rock shifts. The cover becomes visible. Secrets that were safe under stone are now exposed. One theory is that the rock is literal. The distillery's storage, the warehouses, a mining front run by a partner. Another theory is symbolic. He is covered by the weight of expectations from New York and from those in Tulsa who think they own his loyalty. A leak would highlight that the thing he trusted as immovable now moves under other hands. The quiet before the reveal. If we follow what leaked snippets suggest, Episode 9 does not open with chaos. It opens with the aftertaste of one. The camera lingers on ordinary surfaces. A bar stool is still warm from a party. A stack of invoices. A voicemail left unanswered. In Sheridan's world, those small things carry consequences. We see Dwight at the distillery at dawn. The barrels line the room like a silent jury. He runs his fingers along one and remembers promises made over oak and bourbon. The leak gives him no warning. The story that others read before it airs becomes imagined knowledge. People outside Dwight's walls start to form hypotheses. Social whisperers fill the air with talk. In the show world, those whispers are dangerous. They invite suspicion, and suspicion fractures cohesion. A leaked scene included in the rumors shows Dwight being slipped an envelope with a chess piece broken in half. That image alone travels in the rumor mill and functions differently than it would on television. In real time, it becomes omen and accusation. The messenger who hands the envelope is under scrutiny. Was this moment staged to unsettle Dwight? Or was it recorded to be used as leverage by someone else?
Last chance. Why the hell are you here?
I was set to kill you.
Who leaks and why? Leaks have authors. Theories cluster around a few plausible suspects. First, someone within Dwight's circle. Bodhi is a likely candidate in speculation. He is brilliant with numbers and vulnerable to pressure. If Bodhi finds that accounts are being siphoned, he might leak a scene to attract attention from investigators or from allies who can help. Another hypothesis puts Mitch in the frame. Mitch's hesitation and moral friction make him a candidate for desperate acts. He might release a scene to protect someone he cares for, to confuse the people pressing in. A darker theory is that the leak comes from New York. If the old family wants to test Dwight, leaking an episode that shows his vulnerability feeds narratives in their favor. They can thread the leak through Tulsa community channels and watch as loyalties shift. Marcus Kane's camp is another possibility. Kane is strategic, patient, and theatrical. Leaking a piece of Dwight's life could be a way to pry at the seams without lifting a gun. Finally, do not discount the federal angle. Sometimes investigators leak to flush assets or to pressure informants. An early leak could be a tactic to force one of Dwight's people into a mistake that creates probable cause. Each possibility changes how we watch the episode and how the episode functions in the world.
No. The financial doc has got to be in the packet, otherwise we're screwed. Just check every envelope.
The leak's contents and its chords. Rumors suggest that episode 9 contains 3 pivotal beats. First, evidence of financial holes tied to the distillery. Second, a near confrontation between Dwight and Kane that is resolved through words rather than violence. Third, a fracture in Dwight's family line when Tina discovers a paper trail.
If I don't do what they want me to do, everybody is going down hard, including you.
If financial irregularities appear in leaked scenes, the consequences are immediate. Financial vulnerability invites the feds, but it also invites criminal partners to take a larger slice. In the leaked moment, Bodhi may be seen staring at a ledger with a bloodless calm and an alarm set behind his eyes. For anyone watching the leak, it reads like a cry for help. For Dwight's enemies, it reads like proof that the king has been careless. The second leaked beat is the verbal duel with Kane, a taped exchange where Kane says something that sounds innocuous on its face but lands with surgical precision in Dwight's psyche. The rumor is that Kane frames control not as violence but as truth. People who watch the leak dissect that truth. They look for who Kane references. They look for the quiet admissions Dwight makes into his coffee. The leak turns the duel into a map. Every line becomes a coordinate that others can follow.
You break my heart because I know that there's good inside of you.
The third beat is Tina's discovery, a document with Dwight's signature, an old shell company, a wire transfer. The leak shows her face when she sees it. That image circulates. Public reaction to a daughter's betrayal is instinctive. In this speculative world, the leak invites viewers to imagine what she will do. Will she run to the law? Will she confront her father privately? Will she use the knowledge as bargaining?
Maisie's gonna stay with us in case you need anything.
I know I'm old as shit, son, but that does not mean that I'm stupid.
Repercussions in the crew. The weight of exposure shifts the crew. Loyalty in Sheridan's stories is not absolute. It is a currency that buys both protection and vulnerability. When a leak circulates, actors in the crew recalibrate. Mitch becomes quieter. He withdraws into acts of ordinary competence, and his distance grows more pronounced. The show may give a scene where he refuses to answer a federal call. He says something like, "I am not ready to trade everything." That line reads as moral hesitation in the leak. The audience in the rumor mill sees it and begins to speculate that he might be an informant or that he might be planning an exit. Both ideas destabilize Dwight's confidence.
Hope it does. Tear me back.
Bodhi becomes the one under the microscope. If he was the leaker, the crew would suspect him because he had a motive. If he was not, suspicion still lands on him because his behavior seems volatile in the leak. Bodhi's decisions become a fuse other characters fear. If he chooses self-preservation the way the leak suggests he might, the result is a slow combustion of trust. Tina is the wild card. In some leaked frames, she looks hurt. In others, she looks resolute. That ambiguity is powerful. In a world where men measure power by force, her private knowledge becomes the leverage that can reorder alliances without a single bullet.
Is that a ghost? Look like the general done took Tulsa.
Kane knows a guy like Ray can have consequences.
Kane's invisible hand. Marcus Kane in the leaked scenes is not theatrically villainous. He is a methodical presence. He appears at Dwight's edge with observations rather than orders. The leak's theorists note that Kane's power lies in information control. If he orchestrated or benefited from the leak, he did so to create a new map of who would bend. One hypothesis is that Kane leaked selective scenes to incite mistrust among Dwight's top lieutenants. He wants those who would side with Dwight to suspect one another. He wants the rock of allegiance to split into smaller stones that he can use. A staged leak allows Kane to shape expectation rather than react to it. Another theory posits Kane as a mirror manipulator. In the leaked dialogue, he reframes Dwight's victories as compromises. He suggests that the real power is not found in who pulls the trigger, but in who can force confession. If Kane planted the leak, he is forcing confessions by creating doubt. People talk when they think the world knows their dirty laundry. That talk reveals who is loyal and who is not.
No matter how you word it, it still leads to death.
What do you expect me to say?
I expect you to shut up and listen.
The feds in the public eye. If a leak includes financial documents, then prosecutors and agents start to circle, at least in rumor. The leaked episode acts like an invitation. In the show world, that means calls start to come in. Journalists phone producers, local law enforcement asks questions. In the narrative, the public eye becomes a new character. Sheridan's dramas rarely make the law simply an external force. The presence of investigators changes the moral calculus for characters who thought their worst secrets were gated. The leak threatens to turn private guilt into public evidence. For the narrative, that increases the stakes without needing an armed standoff. A court date is a different kind of battlefield.
I didn't know you had cartoons here.
Can I get you a water?
Nah, I'm good, thank you.
All right, let's do this fast.
The moment of choice, the central dramatic engine of episode 9 from the leaked material and the best educated speculation, is choice. What does Dwight do when the rock shifts? Does he try to bury the leak further? Does he make an example of someone who might have leaked? Or does he accept the exposure and change course? A compelling theory suggests Dwight chooses a middle path. He does not retaliate with guns. He retaliates with ritual. He stages a public display of normalcy that doubles as retribution. He hosts a dinner for his crew and for lesser allies. He pours bourbon and toast. He says small things that stick. He is measured, but in private he does something else. He pays an old debt to a minor player in New York to remind them that debts are remembered. He makes a quiet move that will be visible to observers, but will not look like violence. It is a demonstration of control through discretion.
Don't tell my wife. I'm pretty good at keeping a secret.
If the leak forces Dwight to act, his answer will be characteristic. He has always favored quiet power. His revenge will be a small, precise recalibration designed to keep the public narrative intact while addressing the internal fracture. That is Sheridan logic. The man who survives is not always the loudest. Sometimes survival is about quiet adjustments that the audience sees slowly. Finale. What the leak means for the season. The leaked episode, if it circulates widely, reshapes the arc. A leak reveals more than plot. It reveals character priorities. It gives viewers and characters alike a shortcut to imagine futures. For Dwight, the danger is existential. People who once deferred to him now gossip in corners. Men who were loyal hesitate. A daughter who once sought approval now holds proof of compromise. If the rock that protected him cracks, his whole identity is exposed. But Sheridan seldom rewards the simple reading of exposure with immediate collapse. The best outcome for story and character is complexity. A leaked episode 9 may hurt Dwight, but it may also force him to face his own contradictions. It may give Tina clarity. It may force Bodhi to choose. It may let Kane reveal himself more subtly. In other words, the leak sets up a series of moral reckonings that could make the remainder of the season deeper. The title Covered in Rock gains another meaning then. It is not only the weight of history, it is the sediment of choices. When the rock shifts, it reveals layers. Those layers might include small kindnesses, ugly bargains, and gestures designed to protect. The leak forces viewers to see those layers before characters do. The politics of leaks are not just about spoilers, they are about leverage. An early glimpse at episode 9 gives audiences and characters a chance to argue about what they saw. It lets us theorize. That theorizing is an act of participation. It is also dangerous. In Dwight's world, rumor can be as lethal as a bullet. If episode 9 is truly covered in rock, then what we are seeing in the leaked material is a man who faces being buried by the very thing that kept him standing. Sheridan's interest has always been in the slow unraveling of certainty. The leak amplifies that interest and forces us to think about which characters will choose to dig and which will choose to sit on top of the rubble and pretend nothing changed. For Dwight Manfredi, the question becomes simple and brutal. When the rock moves, what do you reach for first? Your gun or your truth? The leak gives us an early speculative answer. It shows the choices, the tremors, and the faces that will decide the shape of what comes next. The rest of the season will be the work of cleaning up that revelation. The drama will not be in who pulls the trigger, but in who keeps breathing once the ground settles.